Welcome back to another yoga class here. Today is going to be all about releasing physical tension. So there'll be a little bit of juicy flow, but mostly some longer holds and using our own body to self-massage our own body, if that makes sense. So definitely a more relaxing, less intense class. You'll need a mat, a block, I think just one block today, and then either a bolster or a pillow if you don't have a bolster. So we'll get started. Just easy seated position here, hands resting on the knees, close the eyes down. Taking a few minutes to reflect on the day you just had or the day that lies ahead of you, or if anything comes to mind from yesterday. Knowing that living in this world is really beautiful most of the time, but also sometimes can be stressful, whether it's in-person relationships with your family or at work or online, social media driven comparison or conversations. Not only does this take a toll on our minds, but it also results in actual physical tension. We store emotions in our hips, our chest and heart tightens, we get headaches, we clench our jaws. So today we'll work on releasing some of that. Take your hands together in a prayer position. I want you to bring your thumbs in between your eyes. And you're just going to separate your thumbs and slide them along your brow bone here, up and over your eyebrows. Choosing to let go of some of the things you saw today that were not good. Just relaxing the eyes one more time. Now bring your index and third finger out along your temple. Massage in gentle circles here. You can switch directions. Reflecting on some of the thoughts you had today that might not have been beautiful. And instead choosing to focus on positive, intentional thoughts. And then bring all four fingers down to your jaw, to your masseter. Unclench the jaw. Give a nice massage here. Think about some of the words you might have said that you wish you wouldn't have. And choose instead to focus on kind, intentional words. Hands back on the knees. One more deep breath in. And one big exhale. You can open your eyes. We are going to come into some neck stretches. So straighten your spine first. Crown of the head reaches towards the sky. And then right ear drops to the right shoulder. If you don't feel much, go ahead and extend the left hand out to your side. With all these postures, I want you to find your threshold. So I don't want you to go to the point where your whole body tenses up, because then you're just defeating the purpose. Go until you feel a stretch that you can melt into more. Come back to center. Big inhale to straighten the spine, and then on the exhale, the left ear drops to the left shoulder, right fingertips extend out to the right. back to center, do a few shoulder rolls backwards, and then do 3 or 4 forwards here. And then we're going to stand up on the top of our mat and bend forward into a ragdoll. So let the knees bend as much as they need. Clasp opposite elbows and let the upper body, the torso, hang heavy. If it feels good, you can sway from side to side or back and forth. Let all the sides of your torso and your neck lengthen and get heavy and melt towards the mat. Nod your head, yes. Shake it, no. Feel really loosened up here. We're going to come into Padahastasana, so you'll slide your hands underneath your feet with palms facing up. You can widen your feet out a little bit. And then still keep a generous bend in the knee. From here you can kind of use traction to really lengthen the spine. And then exhale and relax into it. You might even hear a few cracks if you're really sending breath into your spine. And I want you to use your toes to massage into your hands and your wrist crease. The ball of your foot might just land perfectly into the center of your palm. You can put pressure there too. Hands plant in front of you. We're going to drop down into tabletop, all fours. And then we're coming down into puppy pose. So hips more or less are stacked over the knees. Arms reach out far in front of you and you drop the chest to the mat. Wrapping the shoulders down. Straightening through the elbows. And then I want you to walk your hands over to the right. If this is too intense, you can drop down into child's pose and do the same thing, but you might feel a little bigger of a stretch through the left side body if you do it this way, and the left hand can come over on top of the right hand. Two more breaths. Walk the hands over to the left side of the mat. Right hand ends up on top of left hand. Kind of shoot the hips over to the right side because the tendency is for everything to collapse in. Feel into that stretch along the left obliques, the left ribs, the left armpit, or the right side, excuse me. One more breath. Hands move back to center, and I want you to press up into all fours. From here, you'll drop down onto your right elbow. Left hand can come out further to support you. And then you're gonna inch your knees in and use your right knee to massage along the front of your forearm here, all of these muscles. And since the tendons are in here as well, when you press down, you'll automatically see your fingers kind of curl up, which is fun. So get in right close to the elbow. You can do small circular motions of your knee. Move in towards the center of the forearm. And then come closer to the wrist. so important if you're typing a lot, on your phone a lot, on your hands a lot, if you're a yogi. Everything we do really involves grasping our hands, so it's nice to massage them out. So we'll drop down onto the left elbow now and use the left knee to massage that forearm. From the elbow side down to the center. And then move in towards the wrist. All right. Come back to tabletop. Tuck the toes. Shift the hips back into down dog. We're going to do a modified down dog today. So I want you to bend your right knee and the left leg stays straight. You're going to point all 10 toes to the left, and then you'll tent up onto your left fingertips. So right hand and left foot are bearing most of the weight. You're on your toe tips and your fingertips on the other side. Hips will shoot out towards the right, and you should feel this along the left side body. Come back to center. Now you'll bend your left knee, point all 10 toes to the right, and then tent up onto right fingertips, kind of creating an arc along the right side of your body. Come back to center, wave the spine forward from pelvis to mid-back, upper back. Drop the hips down to the mat, drop down the belly as well. Move the fingertips to the outside of the mat, rotate the inner thighs up towards the ceiling, and you're gonna press up into cobra, a high cobra. Now both elbows bend and you'll drop your left shoulder to the mat. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bend both elbows, right shoulder drops to the mat. One more time on each side. Inhale, up straight. Exhale, left shoulder drops. Inhale, exhale, right side. Inhale to center, and then slowly drop the whole belly and chest to the mat. Hands will plant by the sides of your ribs. Tuck your toes. Push back through plank to downward facing dog. From here, slowly, lazily walk your feet up to the top of the mat. And fold briefly. Inhale, roll slowly up your spine to a standing position. Roll out the shoulders and the neck. We're going to come into eagle pose. So you'll lift your right knee up at a 90-degree angle, and then you're going to wrap it around your left thigh. If you can bring that right foot behind the left calf for a double wrap, that's great. From here, right arm reaches under left, and palms come together to touch. If you stay here, that's great. Otherwise, sink your hips down. Find stability by pressing the thighs together. Find expansion in your back by pressing the arms together. Slowly unravel. Stay on that left foot. You're going to now come into a standing pigeon. So figure 4, right ankle rests on left thigh, hands at heart center. You're going to sink your hips back for a standing pigeon. If Feeling this on the outer right hip especially. The further down you go, the more you'll feel it. You can also choose to lean forward here. Send breath to that outer right hip. Slowly come back up on your own time and place the right leg on the floor. Shake it out a little bit. That left leg is probably talking to you. Come into a forward fold or half lift just to reset here. We'll move to the other side. Plant strongly through all four corners of your right foot. It helps if you splay your toes out. It helps your balance. So get a nice base of support here. Lift the left knee up to 90 degrees. Wrap it around the right leg. Double wrap behind the calf if you can. Adjust here. The tendency is for the hips to move to the right. Try to have them face center. And then left arm comes under right arm and palms touch at center. Start to sink the hips down. Really squeeze everything in towards the center line. Two more breaths. If you fall, it's okay. Just get right back in it. Slowly unravel. Stay only on the right foot. And then bring the left foot to the right knee for standing pigeon. Hands to heart center. Sink the hips back until you feel a stretch in the outer left hip. You can also choose to lean forward if you wish. My friend is a big runner and trail runner, and this is her all-time favorite yoga pose. Two more breaths. Slowly come back up, and then unravel, shake out your legs, sweep the arms up, and then let everything go. You're going to plant your hands and we'll step back to downward dog and move through that flow again. So bend the right knee, all 10 toes point to the left. Lighten the weight through the left fingertips and rotate the torso out. Switch sides. Toes point to the right, left knee bends, chest rotates to the right. Back to center. Wave the spine forward. Lower the pelvis down. Untuck the toes, lower the whole belly down. Hands come out wide on the outside of the mat. Tent onto your fingertips. On an inhale, lift the chest for high cobra. On an exhale, drop the left shoulder. Inhale, center. Right shoulder to the center of the mat. One more on each side. Lower the belly to the mat. Hands plant beside your ribs, tuck the toes. Push up to plank, and then down dog. From here, step the left foot forward to the outside of the left hand. So we're coming into lizard. I want you to drop the right knee. You can grab a block for support. So untuck the right toes. If you're here planted on your hands, that's great. If you're really flexible and can come down to your elbows, that's great. A lot of us will be in between. So you can put a block on the middle of your mat and rest the elbows onto that. So in this lizard, you can let the left knee splay out to the side a little bit. You can move the hips in circles, or just find stillness. Two more breaths. You should feel an opening mostly along the inner left side, the inner groin. From here, plant onto both hands, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and then you're going to rotate all 10 toes to the left and come on to the outer edge of the feet. Twist the hips open to the left, and then reach the left arm up overhead towards the back of the mat. So this is kind of a revolved Skandasana. You can use your left hand to open up the left knee more. You can just rest on your side. You can give your glutes a nice massage here. This one's really intense. And if you're not warmed up, it might be tough to get into, but do what you can. From here, pick up the left foot, either with your arm or without, and then just place it on top of the right. So usually when we're planted on one hand, we say really stabilize through the shoulder, bring the shoulder away from the ear. I want you to do the opposite. I want you to sink in and just drop in here. Give a little slouch. You should feel this all along the right side body. It's less intense if you do this. You're not really doing anything. By dropping and relaxing into it, you'll feel it more. Left fingertips are out in front of you just for balance. Couple more breaths here. When you're on time, come back to center and up to a plank pose. From plank pose, shift back to down dog. So in this down dog, you should be a little more open so you can work towards straightening the knees and melting the heels towards the mat. On your next inhale, step the right leg on the outside of the right hand for lizard. Drop the left knee, untuck the left toes. You can circle the hips a few times to warm up, either direction. You can splay out the knee a little bit either stay where you are or lower onto a block or lower down your elbows to the mat. We're working a lot into the hips today. You might even feel, if you spend enough time and are focused enough here, that you're really, really able to let go of some emotions you've stored there. So don't be afraid to feel into it a little bit. Three more breaths. Take away your block if you're using it. Come onto both palms. Now you'll tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, scoot that right foot in a little bit, and then rotate all 10 toes over to the right as your left hip drops down onto the mat for revolved Skandasana. So again, right arm can reach back towards the left toes. You can use your hand to open up your knee a little more. You can massage out the glutes. So you're on the blade side of your right foot, letting that right knee open out. Find a position where you're not tensing up so much that you hold your breath, but when you feel a stretch in, that leads to a deeper stretch because you're able to relax into it. From here, pick up the right foot, land it on top of the left foot, legs stretch out straight, and then drop into that left shoulder. Right fingertips are out in front of you for balance if you need. Feel your left side ribs get heavy towards the mat. The first time I did this pose, I was surprised at how simple it was and how good it felt just to totally relax instead of always having to be strong and stable. Couple more breaths. Roll onto your hips, onto your stomach, and push through plank pose to down dog. We'll do our flow one more time. So bend the right knee, point the toes out to the left, come onto left fingertips. Other side, bend the left knee, right toes out to the side. Stretch through the right side body. Back to center, wave through the spine, coming into a high cobra, and lower down. Tent onto your fingertips, bring them out wide. Inhale to expand the chest, lift the crown of the head. Exhale, left shoulder drops. Inhale, puff through the chest. Exhale, right shoulder to the middle of the mat. One more on each side. One more big one to lengthen through the spine. And then exhale, roll onto your stomach. From here, we'll come into a Sphinx pose. So you're resting on your elbows, shoulder width apart. Inner thighs rotate up towards the ceiling. Today we're going to come onto, rest our forehead onto a block. You can let the shoulders relax. Resting the forehead on the block means the neck muscles aren't working and can totally relax here. Feel everything getting heavy, slowing down, dropping towards the mat. You can even roll your forehead from side to side on the block for a massage. Start to move out of this shape, so move the block out of the way. We'll briefly push back into child's pose, arms out in front of you. And then swing the legs around. We'll come into cow face pose. So left knee is on the bottom. It's kind of a upside down V or a A. And then right knee stacks on top of it in the same shape. So you want both sides of your pelvis planted into the mat. If you live in a tighter body, bring the heels in towards the thighs and point the toes. If you're a little more flexible, you can work towards straightening out the shins to parallel and then flexing through the feet. Bring your pillow over if you haven't already. Take 3 breaths in this upright posture, just finding something that works for you. And then we'll move into a forward fold, resting onto your pillow or bolster. I don't think my pillow is dense enough for me. So if that happens, you can put a block underneath it to build it up a little bit. There we go. Let that right hip bone ground to the earth. This pose stirs up a lot of discomfort, a lot of fidgeting, a lot of let me get out of it. So I want you to really find an angle, find a position that you actually want to stay in. Start to slowly come back up. Push your block and pillow out a little bit. We're gonna switch sides by doing the fancy way. So hands come out to the left side behind you. Stand up through your feet, rotate, rotate, rotate. And then your right leg will end up on the mat in this V position with left knee stacked on top for Gomukhasana. So again, either keep the feet in close towards the hips, or you can work towards bringing them parallel out to the side of the mat. Find a spot that works for you. Couple breaths with the spine extended, making sure you're rooting that left hip down. And then drop forward into your fold. You might find that one side is tighter than the other. You can adjust by stacking more underneath you. Maybe as time goes on, you can take one of those props away. Two more deep, slow breaths. I'm pretty sure my dog just did 2 deep, slow breaths behind the camera. Okay, so slowly unravel. Move your props out of the way. Untwist your legs. You can windshield wiper them from side to side, just to release them. We're gonna move into rabbit pose. So you'll come kneeling this with your bottom on your heels. You're going to drop the crown of your head towards your knees. If you could get it on your knees, great. Mine can't quite reach there, so as close to the knees as possible. Your hands come around back and wrap around the heels. So the 4 fingers are on the inside, the thumbs are on the outside. And then you'll slowly lift your hips up as you roll onto the crown of your head. It might take some adjusting. This is good for really opening up through your mid-spine, the back of your neck. Try to lift the hips higher if you can. Slowly lower the hips back onto the heels. Bring the hands out in front of you and lift back up. We'll do something similar now. So sweep the legs out in front of you. Scoot the hips to the top of the mat and lay all the way down onto your back. From here, use your palms pressing into the mat and your ab muscles to bring your knees over your body. So instead of doing plow pose with the legs straight, we're going to bend the knees on either side of the ear. If your shins can touch the mat, that's great. I'm not quite there. Again, feeling a big opening in this area that is so underworked, understretched. If it's more comfortable for you to do plow, please do that. Hands can come up and massage your low back if you want. And slowly straighten the legs. Use the arms for support as you lower down one vertebra at a time. Plant through the feet. Just scoot your whole body. And come into Shavasana. Opening up the feet to either side of the mat. Palms face the ceiling. Get any wiggles out. Find a comfortable spot. Comparing how you feel now to how you felt when you started. Do the hips feel looser? Does the spine and back feel more open? Are you more relaxed through your face and your jaw? Release any last bit of effort. If you're tensed up just a little bit, drop everything. Take as much time as you need in Shavasana. You can pause the video or just come back to it. Otherwise, bend your left knee up, roll onto your right side, and then push up into a seated position. Well, I feel better. I feel much better. So I hope you enjoyed that class a ton. I think it's so important with the pace of our lives and just the emotional and physical tension that we get from it. Sometimes instead of doing a power 90-minute hot yoga class, we need to just sink in and relax and give our body what it needs. So I hope that was really helpful and felt good, and I hope you have a great day. Namaste.